everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little bit different. I decided that I was going to make 4 cards with this particular set, and I didn't want to film all of it because it would take way too long. So I'm going to do more like a project share today. Let me know in the comments below if you actually like videos where it's more of like explaining what I do instead of seeing what I do. I like seeing people make stuff, but like I said, this video would have been way too long for that. So these are the products that I use today. So the star of the show is this Pretty Petals from Says Stamp. I used everything in this set. The flowers, the dies, the outlines, even the sentiments. So I incorporated everything from this set into the cards for today. I made these stencils using my Cricut forever and a half ago. And I did it to where this hexagon, I had to count the sides to make sure it was a hexagon, sorry. I did it to where it was kind of like etched into, it's very, very faint, but I made this, anyway, I made this stencil using my Cricut, and I made it to where the hexagon was centered more toward the top of the card. But you'll see when I actually ink blended, so let me just go ahead and show you that card. So I used this larger one. I made a smaller one as well, but I used the larger one. And when I placed it toward the middle of the card. So I placed it like this. And then I just ink blended. These are all Says Stamp Positively Saturated inks that I used today for these cards. So except for the black. The black was VersaFine Onyx Black ink. But I just ink blended that hexagon in the middle of the card, and then I cropped it. And then I did, instead of making them into actual like flowers, I made them into like a little spray. And I centered it off to the left, and then added some clear iridescent sequins from my stash just for some sparkle and extra interest. After I had taken pictures, I thought about going back and adding some sparkle with a Spectrum Noir clear glitter brush pen. But I didn't end up doing that, although you very well could. And I did pop those flowers up on some Amazon foam tape that I have in my stash, and I thought that looked really well, or worked really well, excuse me. I ended up cutting the leaves apart just so that I could get more versatility from them, because they come on kind of a rather long stem, and the die cuts this rather long stem. So I just ended up cutting them apart so that I could use them a little more easily for my cards today. And then I paired it with a Paper Studio envelope. So like I said, I made these stencils using my Cricut, but you can use the inspiration I found. Actually used the like a nesting arch die. I have the ones from Waffle Flower. But I decided to use some stencils that I have. You can make your own mask. You can make your own stencils using any shape die that you have. I just chose to use that hexagon that I have in my stash. So that is one of the cards that I made. And like I said, I used all the sentiments from the set, and I chose to make this one a Happy Mother's Day card. So that's the first one. This other one is even more simple, but I really, really, really like these like sherbety colors. I was inspired by something I saw on Pinterest. Again, good old Pinterest. It's like a rabbit hole, y'all. And then I paired it with some like peachy pearls from my stash. And I didn't do anything to the background. Like, this is directly on the card base. This is another Paper Studio envelope, and I thought it went really well. But I kept this one really simple. The only thing that I popped up was the flowers. The stems are actually glued flat. You could go back if you don't like how these stems meet. This didn't bother me on this card. But if you don't like how the stems meet, you could put a bow there, or you can make your sentiment a strip and put it across there so it kind of hides that joint. But I didn't mind how this worked. And like I said, I am in love with this like sherbety color palette here. Again, all Says Stamp Paper Studio, or Says Stamp Positively Saturated inks. I think this is Cheeky, Melon, and this darker pink, I think, is like Guava. I think it was think it was guava. But I really liked how this one turned out. And like I said, it's very simple. These are not bulky cards, so if you needed to mail them, they would mail very easily. And this is a very kind of nice general sentiment, wishing you a beautiful day. Could be for a birthday, a wedding, an anniversary, Mother's Day, you know, what have you. So that is the other one that I made using this Pretty Petals set. And this one I made, again, just a Paper Studio envelope. I stenciled lightly this background, and I apologize, I don't know where I got this stencil from. I looked to see if there was any like etching or indexing on it to say what company at least it was from, and there isn't any. I know I did not make this one myself because I don't have stencil material that is this color. I usually just use acetate. But I lightly stenciled with, this was carnation ink, and then I did the flowers in a rainbow, but I did them like tone on tone. So I used all of the, so Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated inks come in trios, and I used all of the trio on this one, and I just used 2 of the trio on the smaller ones because those only have 2 layers. This bigger flower is the only one that has like 4. So this is like the true blues, so like Cadet and Marine, and I can't think of the other one. This is like Peony, Carnation, and I can't think of the other one. And this is like Violet, Iris, and something. Amethyst, maybe? But I lightly stenciled this background using this stencil, and then I used the remaining ink around the kind of the perimeter just to kind of soften and not have such a bright white background. Put more of those iridescent sequins on for my stash, and then stamped the sentiment in one of the colors from here. I did pop those up, again, using that Amazon foam tape. Again, if you don't like this joint, put a bow there so it looks like a bouquet, or you could put your sentiment on a strip and put it there. Either would work. So that is the other one I made, again, using a stencil from my stash. I liked that this faded off into white. I thought that was really pretty, and it gives your eye somewhere to kind of rest and helps kind of guide your eye over to the sentiment as well. So that is the other card I made using that particular set. And then I had a lot of flowers left over. I intended on making those 3 that I showed you, and this was kind of a bonus card. Again, a Paper Studio envelope, but I made a lot of these extra kind of rainbowy flowers, and so I wanted to use them. These little pearls here are like a silver iridescent. They're really pretty, and I thought they played with these colors of my card really well. I believe I got those from Trinity Stamps. I think they were like a gift with purchase kind of thing, and I believe that's where I got those. So I just used the extras, and I played for a while. I was like, oh, I'll just make a full background out of it. That didn't work well. I didn't have quite enough to accomplish that. And I was like, well, I'll just make a strip at the bottom of flowers. That didn't look very good. And I'll be honest, I am not the best like paper bouquet creator. I'm just not. So I ended up liking this the best. And it looks like I need to add a little bit of glue here. I've got this flower hanging on by a thread here. I did pop that up with more of that Amazon foam tape and just trimmed off the excess, made little clusters in the corners, put the sentiment in the middle, and used those pearls to kind of help guide your eye around the card. And I just glued those flat to the card base, although if you wanted to, you could jazz this up, emboss or stencil the background again, dry emboss. You could do like a tone on tone, with some Versamark ink and clear embossing powder, just to give the background some more interest. If you don't like all of this white space, that would be an option as well. But I wanted to use all of the flowers that I made, all of the dies that I made, and so I just decided to give myself a little bonus card. So again, wishing you a beautiful day could be for numerous occasions, and I thought this turned out really well considering that it was kind of a bonus card. So that is all the cards I made using the Pretty Petals from Simon Says Stamp. This was released in 2024, but I just now got around to kind of creating with it, and I like to film ahead, so this is February. This is Valentine's Day when I'm actually filming this, so I don't know when I'll post this, but anyway, a really pretty set, a really functional set that you can do a lot of things with and get lots of looks from just changing up your color palette or your sentiments. So I appreciate you spending time with me. Again, let me know in the comments below if you prefer like an actual tutorial where I show you what I'm doing, or if you like videos like this from me where I just kind of tell you what I did after the fact. So let me know. Again, I appreciate your time, and we will see you next time. Bye.